Sahyokyung looked around with angry eyes. Zhang Sanhui, Yo Suliang, Cho Samchik, and himself, the four of them gathered in one place. The other three did not appear. Sahyokyung was not naive enough to not know what that meant. The deaths of Gamilhae and Jae Woongpyeong have already been confirmed. All that was left was the Iron Dwarf, but seeing that he did not appear, it was clear that he was also dead. Who the hell is it? Sahyokyung's shoulders trembled, and a ferocious force radiated from him. The surroundings shook madly at the momentum he radiated. The Zhang Sanhui tried to calm Sahyokyung. Stay calm, big brother. Do I look like I'm going to calm down? 3 of our younger brothers whom I wanted to spend the rest of my life with are dead. This is why we need you to be more sober. What he wants is for us to be agitated. Even at this moment, he is hiding and watching our every move. We need to be cool-headed. Who? Only then did Sahyokyung calm his anger. Zhang Sanhui sighed in relief. The core of the 7 stars was Sahyokyung. Only when Sahyokyung took the center position could the group move forward without being shaken. Sahyokyung asked Zhang Sanhui, "Who do you think did it?" At the moment, it's most likely him. Him? Pyo Wool. If he has the ability to fight against the Qingqing and Amei sect, it is possible that he's responsible. After entering Chengdu, what Zhang Sanhui paid the most attention with is collecting information regarding subjects who could be a threat to their group. Originally, the greatest threat were the Amei and Qingqing sect. However, they suffered so much damage that they had stopped their activities. The same situation could be said for the other sects in Chengdu. The 100 Flower Room lost both of their young miss and their sect leader, while the Thunder Clan also disappeared altogether. All of this happened because of one person. Only one assassin shook the entire Sichuan Murim. It wasn't too difficult to find him. It was because he had such a beautiful appearance that it was hard to believe that they were the same species. A man who was more beautiful than a woman. That was Pyo Wool. At least among the warriors who had become his enemies in Chengdu, there was no one who did not know Pyo Wool. However, no one was willing to tell Zhang Sanhui about Pyo Wool. For that reason, it took quite a while to figure out the identity of Pyo Wool. So he was so surprised when he found out that it was Pyo Wool who caused a lot of damage to the Iron Dwarf. I should have definitely killed him back then. Now that he thought about it, he only has regrets. Because they did not want to attract the attention of the Qingqing and Amei sect, things have led to this kind of disaster. Did you find out why he's after us? Don't tell me he's still offended by what happened with our 3rd brother? The 3rd brother he was referring to was Oh Kyung-wool, the Iron Dwarf. Zhang Sanhui shook his head. If that were the case, there would be no reason for him to drag on this situation in the first place. So? He must be related to the child in some way. Zhang Sanhui looked at Nam Xinwu, who was spread out under his feet. Sahyokyung's eyes changed sharply. It's because of this guy? I think that's most likely. Sahyokyung's face distorted at Zhang Sanhui's answer. It was like getting ambushed in an unexpected place. We'll get out of here for now. So far we've been scattered, so he's had an advantage, but together he won't be able to attack us easily. Let's do that. Samchik. Yes. You carry this guy. All right. Cho Samchik answered and then wrapped his arms around Nam Xinwu, who had fainted. Suliang. What is it? You take the lead. You are the most sensitive of us, so make sure you keep track of his movements. I understand. Yo Suliang nodded and took the lead. Be careful, everyone. You never know when or where he will attack. Sahyokyung once again asked the younger sisters. Yes. Let's go. At Sahyokyung's words, the 4 of them began to move as one. Yo Suliang, with her senses wide open, moved at the forefront, while Sahyokyung and Zhang Sanhui escorted Chu Samchik from the left and right. Their faces were full of wretched energy. The 3 brothers who swore to die at the same time died today. If they make a mistake, that oath could have come true for all of them today. Such a situation had to be prevented. Sahyokyung clenched his teeth as he looked at Yo Suliang's back. I'm stepping down disgracefully today, but I will definitely take revenge. He had never had such a shameful day in his life. The fact that he had to leave Chengdu like this, without doing anything, made him miserable. Zhang Sanhui, whether he had even read his mind, said. It is said that it is not too late to wait 10 years for a gentleman's revenge. If we hand over the child and receive support, we will be able to kill Pyowool easily. We just have to wait until then. Yes, that's right. I will definitely pay for today's disgrace after consulting with everyone. We will continue to follow you. I'm thankful and encouraged by everyone's presence. At Sahyokyung's words, Zhang Sanhui smiled slightly. But his face soon hardened like a stone. Now wasn't the time to enjoy being praised. It was time to get through the crisis together. Suliang, be careful. Don't worry. If he's a man, what can he do to me? Don't think of him as a man. He is an assassin. Remember, there is nothing more foolish than to expect approval from an assassin. Yes, I know. Yo Suliang bit her red lips. She couldn't hide her perplexed expression. She never dreamed that the man she was trying to seduce would be so terrifying. If she had known the truth behind his handsome face, that he was hiding such a cruel and ferocious nature, she would never have approached him so defenselessly. But he's also a man. As long as he's a man, he won't be able to deal with me. She firmly believed in her own beauty. The best weapon for a woman was her gorgeous appearance, not martial arts. In that way, she had the strongest weapon. Yo Suliang was confident that Pyowool would never attack her. Rather, she was convinced that if Pyowool appeared, she would successfully seduce him and wrap him under her skirt. That was then. Cook! Suddenly, a scream broke out from behind. When she looked behind her in surprise, Zhang Sanhui was staggering. What's going on? Don't stop! Zhang Sanhui shouted while staggering. He is trying to prevent the group from being disturbed because of him. That was then. Hyuk! Suddenly, Zhang Sanhui's body was taken into the darkness. Sanhui! Second brother! Sahyokyung and Yo Suliang shouted and ran at the same time. However, the speed at which Zhang Sanhui was being dragged was several times faster than the speed at which they were running. Cook! Zhang Sanhui looked at his left foot. Something invisible to the naked eye was wrapped around his ankles. Zhang Sanhui struggled and tried to cut off the object that tightened around his ankle, but to no avail. It's the same with my brothers. He knew how his brothers died. They were all dragged into the darkness, and died instantly. A determined expression appeared on the Zhang Sanhui's face. He gathered his energy into the blade of his hand and smashed his leg in one breath. Puhwek! Zhang Sanhui was cut off his leg from the knee. Kirk! Zhang Sanhui, who had cut off his own leg, let out a suppressed groan. Without any complaining about the pain, he got up on one leg. In his view, he saw Sahyokyung and Yo Suliang running towards him. Seeing them running like crazy, Zhang Sanhui shouted. No! Don't come! Hyuk! At that moment, Cho Samchik, who was left alone, disappeared from view. Just like Zhang Sanhui, Cho Samchik was dragged into the darkness with Nam Shinwu on his back. However, Sahyokyung and Yo Suliang did not notice such a fact at all as they were fixated on going towards Zhang Sanhui. Zhang Sanhui shuddered. He's a demon. He's not human. An unbearable fear came over him like a tide. So far, Pyowool has never shown a face. He was hiding in the dark and hunting the 7 stars. It would not have been so terrifying if it had been a face-to-face confrontation, because most warriors fight like that. But this was not a battle between martial artists. This was one-sided hunting, nothing more or less. If it was him, he would have cursed and demeaned it as a cowardly act. In Jianghu, an assassin is nothing more than a subhuman being who carried out a secret attack or ambush. That was how Zhang Sanwei had thought so far. But from this moment onward, his thinking has changed. Assassins were never meant to be taken lightly. He could not laugh at them anymore. At least, he shouldn't judge Piaowu to be on the same level as the other assassins. He now finally understands how those large sects such as the Qingqing and Amei sect were helplessly beaten by Piaowu. Piaowu was a different kind of assassin. He was clearly demonstrating the maximum value an assassin could do. Sa Hyokyang and Yo Suliang belatedly realized that Cho Samchik had been dragged into the darkness and looked back. Shugak. At that moment, something flashed in front of Zhang Sanwei. Zhang Sanwei thought that the world was turning. But in reality, his body had leaned. His right leg, which was still intact, was amputated using the soul-reaping thread. Thud. As soon as Zhang Sanwei fell to the floor, someone walked out of the darkness. The pure white face that contrasted with the pitch-black darkness looked like a demon in Zhang Sanwei's eyes. But his face was more beautiful than any other woman. So it felt even scarier. Zhang Sanwei raised his hand and pointed to Piaowu. You? At that moment, Piaowu waved his hand. Zhang Sanwei felt something sharp cut his throat. That was the last feeling that Zhang Sanwei felt before a fountain of blood spurted out from his neck. Piaowu ended up taking Zhang Sanwei's life using the soul-reaping thread. Aha! Second brother. At that time, Sa Hyokyang and Yo Suliang, who realized that Zhang Sanwei was dead, ran frantically. Piaowu stood in place and looked at them. He no longer hid in the dark, nor did he try to avoid them. Fat. Piaowu's figure flickered and then appeared in front of Sa Hyokyang, who was running at full speed. He unfolded the black lightning. Bastard! Sa Hyokyang wailed like an animal and swung his fists. Qua! A wind of formidable power came over Piaowu. However, Piaowu lightly evaded the attack by executing the snake steps. Sa Hyokyang continued to attack Piaowu. However, Piaowu evaded and avoided all of those attacks by a narrow margin. No way. Sa Hyokyang's eyes were filled with despair. Piaowu was like a ghost. He would accurately capture the moment of his attack and would retreat. And every time he would step back, Piaowu would come closer. Piaowu's reaction, as if he knew in advance what kind of technique he was going to use, made all hairs all over his body stand up. Piaowu precisely matches the breathing and life response with his opponent using synchronization 1. That's how he was reading Sa Hyokyang's reaction in advance and can respond preemptively. It was the first time Sa Hyokyang had experienced this type of martial arts, so even the seasoned warrior Sa Hyokyang had no choice but to be flustered. Big brother. Yo Suliang joined to help Sa Hyokyang. However, Piaowu's reaction was several times faster than her movements. Sit. Sight. A sound of a weapon ripping through the darkness echoed. The ghost daggers was released. Huh. Yo Suliang instinctively leaned back and swung her sword. Kagang. She was able to hit the ghost dagger by a hair's breadth. Having managed to save her life, she exhaled a deep breath and got up quickly. Her eyes widened as if torn apart. Big brother. Sa Hyokyang was standing with his mouth wide open. Around his neck was a thread so fine that it was indistinguishable with the naked eye. It was clear that the thread would pierce his neck without mercy if he moved even a little. Behind Sa Hyokyang was Piaowu, holding the thread. In that brief moment when Yo Suliang evaded the ghost daggers, Piaowu had wrapped the thread around Sa Hyokyang's neck and went behind his back. Cook! The thread dug into Sa Hyokyang's neck.